You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech. We are back. No verse today?
No verse.
All right. My ox clothes like Steve Austin. I got him in the square. I will let you run. Nah, that ain't fair. So I clear my vision so I can spot him, snatch him up by the neck and say, I got him, Achilles.
Oh my goodness.
No?
I think we're having technical difficulties.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, the show we break down nerd culture and tech news from a black and brown geek perspective. I promise you I will never rap again.
You said that last time.
I know.
You actually promised that you would rap every show.
That's right. That's true. That rap is from 1987. So
When?
1987.
When you were 20?
Let's jump into this. We do have a guest today, which we're very excited about. We have Anthony R. Howard on today, who's a technology expert who is going to talk to us about a lot of things, all things technology. He's a defense expert. He's a tech expert. He is known as, in some circles, as the IT superhero, if you will. The
number one.
The number one IT superhero. And so we're very excited to talk to him about sort of the what goes on in the world of defense, in terms of
Social media.
in the world of social media, which we'll talk a lot about today. And so he'll be joining us in the back half of the show. But before that, let's get through some of these stories that we have. So shifting gears. Shifting gears. We have a guest this week. We have our guy, Anthony R. Howard, who is a very accomplished tech expert. He's a best-selling author. He's a technology expert. Been around for working for firms for the last 12 years. We'll let him tell you a little bit more about that. He's won all kinds of awards. Most notably, what I like, most notably for me, he was named the number one IT superhero by InfoWorld and Computer World, which I love that.
Wow.
IT superhero.
That's dope.
I don't have that. He's done a ton of work for the defense sector, the Department of Defense and Homeland Security, and some private security firms and some other things as well. He's an expert, and we're going to talk to him a little bit about some social media stuff, which we've been talking about, and also transition into some defense stuff.
Right.
I think he's on the line right now. Anthony, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I can
Yes,
hear
sir,
you just
man.
fine.
Welcome to the show, Ant.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech. I'm Joe, and that's Keely, and then the female voice here is Alexis. We're here.
Hi.
Hello.
All right.
Wonderful, wonderful day, everybody. Happy Friday to you.
Happy Friday to
Friday.
you. So just, briefly, why don't you give us a little, I kind of did a hacky job of sort of giving your credentials, but, why don't you give us a little bit, tell us a little bit about yourself, in about 30 seconds.
All right. First thing is I'm a best-selling author, and that's one of my most proudest achievements.
Sure.
And author of the books The Invisible Enemy, Black Fox, and The Invisible Enemy 2, Vendetta, which are books written about what's really going on behind the scenes in the Department of Defense. So
Right.
the spies that the FBI caught, right? Back I was in the Department of Defense realm and wrote, hey, how did this happen? How are spies trained and recruited? What technologies are they using? What's going on? And as you said, a lot of awards, a lot of case studies have been published on my solutions across the IT industry. Currently, I provide technology solutions and advisement for some of America's most distinguished clients: Google, U.S. Defense Sector, Department of Justice, Department of Homeland Security.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, who's that?
I thought you said you were
Have
accomplished.
an NDA, and then also relocated to the Netherlands for about a year and a half to solve technology issues for American-based companies and even for military logistics. So
That's awesome, man.
that about caps it up. And then you talked about some of the cool awards, and I've got the FOSSI Award, which is the nation's largest information technology exposition serving the government. Got the Best New Technology Award.
Great.
That's the geeky stuff, the geeky background.
Sure. Well, it's very much in line with what we do here and what our listeners and viewers on YouTube and stuff want to hear about. What we've been talking about today a little bit, we've been talking a lot about these giant social media companies and the proliferation of these giant social media companies. And I just want your opinion, because we talk a lot about sort of what at least I do, the paranoia of sort of these large companies, how large they're becoming, and how they essentially profit on collecting and monetizing our personal information and blah 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 blah. I mean, I participate in this as well, but can you talk to us about like the Twitters, the Snapchats, the Facebook of the world? Can you talk to us about like what consumers should be worried about?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm saying like
talk about those.
So just like maybe a little bit about those, but primarily what consumers should be concerned about with these large companies, if anything.
If for consumers, three things are really what you really need to know and be concerned about. And the first one is your data and your habits are being stored, right? So this cool stuff, and you talked about the iPhone earlier in the show. That is part of the conspiracy, I like to call it, but that's because I'm a spy novel writer. So what is actually going? So cloud has been around for a while. It's just offsite data hosting, but what they're doing now is they're using that to keep consumers locked into a specific product or a specific brand. So, for example, if you have an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 5 or 4, and you press that cool iCloud button, and then your photos and your contacts and all that stuff gets backed up to the magical unicorn known as the cloud. Right. Now, what's actually happening is all of your data, all of your photos, all of your everything is going on to Apple servers, and that data is being stored in catalogs with what we call metadata.
Right.
That metadata, right, is stored, and we can create a psychological profile on that particular user. Now, what do we do with a psychological profile? We create ads and shopping habits. So if you now go to apps or the internet on your iPhone, ads based on where you live, what sites you've been to, what stores you've been to, will pop up, monetizing that information.
Right.
All right. So we also have your pictures. Okay. So pictures of, maybe you passed out drunk, or family photos.
Oh, not me, brother, not me.
When you tag people or send those to people, right, that information is also stored. That metadata is also stored in catalogs. So even if you delete the picture
still
off
stored,
of Facebook, it doesn't matter.
Right.
It's still cataloged, again, in what we call metadata, which lasts how long? Forever.
Forever.
So that is what I speak to youth about a lot, is they don't know that they post pictures in high school of partying and flipping the bird to the camera.
Right.
Okay, when employers go and Google your name,
Right.
that picture can come up because it's tagged to your metadata, which is tagged to your name.
You're saying that
So though
fingerprint
you didn't
lasts
post
forever.
that picture anywhere, it can happen. So that's the first thing, is know that your data and your habits are really being stored.
Well,
the second thing,
wait, let me
your
jump
data
in.
and
Let
your
me
habits.
jump
Go
in
ahead.
on that. Let me jump in on that really quick, because that's a lot of important information. Before we get to the second thing, I want to just elaborate on that, because we hear a lot about Facebook in particular. There's a story out middle of last year about some Facebook scientists sort of messing around with an algorithm that sort of like, with all the information they have, sort of predicting if couples will be together and stay together. And with all this metadata, Google, Facebook, all these other ones are able to do more than just, we talk now about the algorithm used to be able to sell you ads, but you have all this information. There's limitless other things that they're using this stuff for, potentially using this stuff for. I mean, what do you know about that? I mean, we can get to the second thing in a second, but like, what do you know about any of that stuff? I'm just curious about, is that really true that they're actually...
That is absolutely true, which is the second thing. You hit right on. The second thing is your data and your habits are being sold, right? Ad companies pay millions for this data, right? Because they know who's single. If you're searching, eHarmony or whatever the trendiest online dating, they know where you live because it's based off GPS coordinates that are in the tower that they also have, and you tag yourself in photos based on location. They know that. I was also one of the architects behind what is now called Google Earth. I don't know if a lot of people use that, but basically it's teaming with Google and NASA to put satellites in the sky to look down on everything. So if you were to go on Google Earth now, put in your address, a satellite would literally zoom down to your street and virtually walk north-south. You can see all your neighbors' houses, your car in the front. So all that information about you is cataloged, and it creates this psychological profile, which is then sold without your knowledge to marketing companies, financial companies, or financial services companies, or even folks like Spokio, who basically catalog information for people who do private searches on people and things like that.
I gotta ask you, man. I gotta ask you, being that we're in this information and connection economy where we all are, searching for for information about topics, and we're all trying to like have some sense of connectivity with each other. Like how is this a good thing? Like how would you argue that this is a good thing? Or would you argue that?
Thing. I think it's way too much data. And you actually hit on something very important earlier when you were talking about the drones. You said the technology curve is always ahead of the legal curve, right? So right now there's no, the privacy laws, there's so many loopholes where they can store data and sell data with almost no repercussions because there's no laws about what they can, because you have voluntarily pushed the iCloud button and uploaded your data. So they can sell it as a backup service, but what it really is, it's a big data or analytical data machine where you just, I think you said earlier there was some odd millions of iPhones sold in the first quarter. So all those people, they have free information on 6 million people, their shopping habits, their surfing habits, where they live, and they can sell that information. So to me, no, that's not a good thing at all.
So then my
profitable thing.
My follow-up question is, how do you navigate this landscape of technology when you have all your information, siphoned, categorized, and then used either against you? Like how do you plug in essentially?
Remember, the golden rule is what I had to speak at the School of Business and Industry Forum of college students, and I told them the golden rule: do not put anything on the cloud or on social media that you do not want the world to see forever, because the internet doesn't forget.
Right.
And I'm one of the architects that architected how the Google search engine works, which is you have a retriever service which crawls for data all day, which crawls the metadata, which is how it's cataloged and archived, and it doesn't go away.
Right.
So even if you did something 15 years ago and the employer pulls it up and sees a picture of you with your middle finger to the camera, right? They don't know that's 15 years ago. Yeah. Because a lot of interviews are done, over the phone or online or what have you. So you might be written off and not know why. You didn't get a call back, and you don't know why. It's because that employer saw what you put on LinkedIn or Facebook. And you might say, oh, well, Facebook has privacy settings now.
Right.
No.
Well, and then I want to get to, 'cause I have a question too, but before I get to the question, I want to get to number 3. Did you get to number 3? Because we were jumping in with some questions.
No, number 3 was kind of the light at the end of the tunnel, which was, hey, how can you use this to your advantage, right? So your information's out there. How can you use it to your advantage? So that's what I wanted to hit on, which is the third thing, which was, hey, you can create a brand and treat social media as free advertising for you. So, for example, let's say for your next show, Black Hollywood Media, Geek Nerd Tech, you wanted to say, hey, I want to have a show next month, and I want to try and get 100,000 listeners. And what is the name of a show that would get the most clicks, the most likes, and the most traffic on social media? And of course, since we have all this data and research done, right, there's certain words and things that you guys can use, or any business can use, to get more free traffic than they would otherwise get by just putting a normal title. So for instance, if today's topic would be social media and business advice and tips, that would get a certain amount of hits. But if you related it to the more human version, which gets a lot of traffic on social media and the reposts and the likes, if you put tips for social media and business that will keep you from going broke,
right.
Bam. Using the humanistic versions of titles actually catapults business, shows, television into the social media realm where people can comment, blog on what they, based on what they saw on the show, which actually gives you hundreds of thousands of more hits than you would normally get. So you can kind of use it to your advantage based off of some of the analytics that are being done with your information. Does that make sense?
That makes complete sense. And I want to jump over, because we only have about 5 or 6 minutes left. I want to jump to some of this defense technology and some questions we had. Sony hack. I just saw Black Hat in the theater. I'm very concerned about all this stuff. But before I jump into that, one last question on one thing I'm concerned about is, we talked about don't put anything in the cloud that you don't want to be there forever. What about the future of like the things like Bitcoin, or like more importantly like Apple Pay? What about the commerce that happens, sort of like this all of this sort of I don't want to call it e-commerce, but this new economy of like payless, moneyless economy? Should we be concerned? I mean, I signed up for Apple Pay. I'm kind of using it, but I'm concerned about it. Are those things a concern in your opinion?
Or like even the fingerprint touch and all that stuff?
Since I come from the Department of Defense, I'm actually concerned about all this stuff, because I know where it can go, the darkest places. So I personally don't use Apple Pay. That's not to say that Apple Pay is bad. Right. What a cashless society, or cashless society, where every transaction can be monitored and engaged, I don't think that's good for free enterprise at all. I think it's another mechanism of control, but that's just my personal opinion. So I don't use Apple Pay just because I like, the way things are done, credit cards, cash, and for me as an author, it's a lot easier to do transactions with things like that because it's easy and there's no fee associated with, and you don't have to go through Apple. So for instance, if I did do Apple Pay but I wanted to move away from Apple, you couldn't do that. So I don't like being locked into one single technology. I like the best of breeds, and that's just my personal opinion.
Fair enough. I want to jump over to using your defense background and talk a little about that. We just had this big Sony hack. This is big news here in Hollywood and made national news, of course, because it may or may not have come from Korea, North Korea. And there's all this talk about Russia and the growth of all these crazy young hackers in Russia who did nothing better to do than to hack. I just saw Black Hat, which kind of scared the ish out of me. How big of a threat is all this stuff? And then what this sort of cyber terrorism and all this stuff? How serious is this?
It's real. It's very serious, and more serious than what you hear on the news. It's the stuff that you don't hear, because the stuff you hear on the news are the people that got caught, are the schemes or scandals that got uncovered and exposed, right? The spies that are just really phenomenal are the ones that never get caught. I don't know if you remember, in 2010, the FBI actually caught an entire ring of spies planted here by Russia since birth to live and breathe as American citizens and to sleep with high-level officials and do other scandalous stuff to influence American policy, and they were all caught. They had fake American names and passports.
It's like the TV show The Americans.
Their real names, real Russian names that they never used, and there are dozens and dozens and dozens of rings like that, not just from Russia but from everyone. So it's those that you don't hear about that worry me. So the Sony hack was bad, and they did the movie, they leaked the movie, or they didn't like it because it reflected their leader in a bad way. But all in all, what happened was, the movie got leaked, and there were some threats made, and then there was some slight retaliation by the United States, and then the media moved on to something else. Now, what about those hackers that have a knock list that's exposing every asset that America has all over the globe and matching the code names to the real American aliases?
The Edward Snowdens of the world, or the WikiLeaks.
So the Edward Snowdens, right? Those, and again, he wasn't by himself. They like to make him seem like, he was some guy who got mad and exposed the NSA. No, he couldn't have got out of the country like that. He had some help. He had some help, especially when they knew who he was, and the guy's on TV, but they still can't capture him. So easy to say that he had a lot of foreign help. He was not acting alone. And then to answer your question, how serious is this, right? Cyber threats and cyber terrorism, cyber hacking, right? That's the next wave of criminal.
Right.
Organized crime is also using this type of attack to hijack companies and get ransoms and get your website back, or denial of service attacks, things like that. So it is very serious, and it is the part of the next wave of combat.
I mean, you're starting to see a lot of that even in television. I think they're having a new the CSI Cyber, I think that's what it's called, coming out. I did want to ask you, because we're about to wrap, but I want to ask you a question about African American people in the field of technology. Do you feel that we are well? I guess how I want to frame it. Well represented. Yeah. Like, do you come across a lot of brothers and sisters that are in the field that you're in, or are you kind of like a few to none?
I do not feel like African Americans are represented in the technology field, and I think it is because just in general, for any field, African Americans, we're less likely to get hired without the experience. But how do we get the experience unless we get hired?
Chicken before the egg?
That's always what I hear.
Right.
Catch-22. So in my opinion, no, it has gotten better. So 15 years ago, when I started in this field, there were just almost none.
Wow.
That I would come across on a regular basis. Now, maybe about 2 to 3% of who I come across. But still, right? That's not necessarily great, but we'll call it progress, and because it's more than what was 15 years ago. But in my opinion, definitely not.
Wow.
It is a hard field to get into, especially at the level things are now, because clients and companies, they want something proven, especially when it comes to African Americans, something that's someone who's already done it. And then we're not judged on our potential, we're judged on what we've done. So I think that's part of the reason why. So what I tell folks who want to break into the technology industry and become a consultant or a strategist is, pick the company you want to be with, right? Start in sales or start in, whatever junior role you can get, and then you use that company's free training and use their, time to analyze the competitive landscape, and from there you can go wherever you want, because, there's lots of ways to maneuver within companies. So don't try and jump in at the strategist or senior technology role immediately. It does take some years even if you get into a junior role. So that was my advice, and that's really how I broke into it and where I am today.
Nice, man.
Yeah, well, and that's great advice, and having people like you that we can point to and look to are also helps the young folks who want to be and get into this stuff. We're out of time, unfortunately, Anthony, and it was a pleasure having you for this brief amount of time. We definitely want to have you back because I want to get a little more into some of the defense stuff as well, and this is topics we always touch on. So we'd love to have you back to be able to talk to more stuff, and actually I really want to talk about these books as well. So hopefully we can have you back here.
I'd love to be back anytime.
Okay,
anytime.
Fantastic.
Well, before you go, man, shout out your Twitter handle or where people can find you.
Website, AnthonyRHoward.org. Again, that's AnthonyRHoward.org. And again, the name of the books are The Invisible Enemy, Black Fox, and The Invisible Enemy 2, Vendetta.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you for joining us.
And much success to you, man.
Much success.
Thank you very much.
That's going to do it for us on Geek Nerd Tech today. Bit of a short show.